I want to say something to all the young women out there. As a 53-year-old woman, I am begging you to take care of your financial crap. Do it now. Set yourself up for success and do smart things with your money. If you need help with that, there are so many resources online. If it's something that you don't have a mentor, you don't have a parent or someone who can help you do that, um, there are tons of ways for you to learn that stuff online. I started looking for additional income online because I made so many mistakes as a young woman, and now am remedying that. But if I had set myself up for success years ago, I wouldn't have to be worrying about it now. So I'm begging you to please do that now. If you're like me and you're out there looking for additional income online, let me know. Comment class and I will send you a link to the free training that I did that actually got me started.
Day 2 of my new series, Things I Regret. Today is about money, okay? And I know these are controversial, and that's okay. But I wish that I would have started saving sooner in my life. When I was freshly in the job world, I would get money and I would spend. And I really wish that I would have started saving sooner in life. And I tell you this because things happen in life. And long story short, I lost my job back in 2022. 2022. And I was 4 months at home without a job. And my husband had jumped jobs in the mix of all of that. And we were scraping by, living not even paycheck to paycheck. We were digging into our savings account just to pay the bills. Okay, had I started saving sooner, then we may have been in a different situation. We loved to shop for clothes, shoes, bags. I mean, you name it. My husband's a gamer. I'm a collector. We spent money on stupid stuff. And we drained our savings at one point. We had zero savings. I was able to join a financial program that kind of helped us, but we're finally in a good place in our lives, but that is something I regret. I wish I would have started saving sooner. So I'm putting this out in the world today to tell you, if you're here, it's never too late to start saving. But if you're young, in your early 20s, start saving now, because life happens and you want to make sure you're in a good place when life happens.
I bought a bunch of bags in my 20s and my 30s. They were bad financial decisions that made me feel very good in the moment. And I don't really have any regrets, but if I could go back and change it, I would absolutely not buy all them bags again. I would have bought my first LV bag, gotten that dopamine hit, and then after that, I would have went on the Yellow app and I would have lived my best life and put all the rest of it in stocks. That's my financial advice that nobody asked for.
Have you ever looked at your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? That question gets uncomfortable fast. Many women don't regret earning too little. They regret waiting too long to save, invest, understand debt, and actually pay attention to where their money was going.
Want to hear the biggest money mistake I've ever made? I have a law degree. I went to Harvard. I've built many businesses, whole adult life on paper, and I still couldn't tell you what we owed, made, or saved. UBS says that 58% of women do this, and 85% think their husbands know more about money, but most don't. And it took me, divorce, to finally make me look. I was 27, and I was rebuilding from scratch. But this time, I know where every dollar is going. Don't wait for a crisis to learn your own life.
The biggest financial risk for women isn't losing money. Most women are afraid to make a bad investment, and so they choose to do nothing. But inflation and waiting will quietly erode your money year after year. Doing nothing might feel safe, but it is the decision that will be the most costly in the long run. So take a look at how much cash you're holding that has no clear purpose, and that will be your starting point.
If you're a brown girly who lives at home, earns a nice income, but isn't saving or paying off her debt, and you are still stuck in debt, you're overspending, you're ignoring your finances, all of these things, this video is for you. What a waste of an opportunity, okay? You're not always going to be living at home. You're not always going to have minimal expenses. In the future, you may have a partner, kids, all these things. We really want to make sure that you set up with the foundation today with your finances. So when we add in more complexities, right, you are able to adapt or even save for those things without being in trouble. Ignoring your money, overspending your money, ignoring your debt, not saving aren't going to be things that future you up for success. You are just going to be stuck in a cycle of financial anxiety and a ton of stress. 3 months with me will transform all that for you. Take a look at my client reviews and apply to work with me one-on-one, link in bio.
This is the #1 regret women have when it comes to their finances. It's that they wish they would have invested more earlier. Of all the assets owned by women, 70% is in cash. That's not good. We want to get those money out of low interest rates accounts into high yield accounts, or even better, investments that will yield better returns. And we want to do it now. Investing is all about time, and we have little time and little room for error. Start investing today and be financially fearless.
I'm going to say something that isn't very nice to hear, so trigger warning, you may not be happy with the following message. If you are like me, a young professional woman, you will notice kind of your peers and what they're doing. Because we're all women, we grow up around us. I can only speak from my lived experience as a woman. And I notice a lot of young women, they spend a lot of time understanding brands and materialism and consumerism. So if you ask them, what is the price of a Louis Vuitton Neverfull, they'll know the price. But you'll ask them, what's the price of Costco stock right now? They will not know the answer. Like, what's the most trending brands? They'll know how to do the smoky eye or whatever the heck is trending. They'll know how much a naked palette costs. But then you ask them, okay, so what's their certificate of deposit? Like, what's the difference between potentially buying an ETF like this one or that one? What's a Vanguard fund? And you'll notice that a lot of times people don't know the answer to those things. Like, what's the benefit of a Roth IRA versus a regular traditional IRA? What you talk about anything like that, they don't really know, right? What is the importance of compound interest? You know, they don't really know the answer to that. And this is why I think there is a huge wealth disparity, frankly, between women and men. It's not that we are intellectually not capable. It's just that we have been maneuvered by a lot of brands and businesses that has realized, oh, it's really easy to poach this person, take their energy and have them, instead of focusing on, you know, what is the best index fund they can invest in, why don't we try to sell them this really expensive makeup palette? Why don't we try to sell them this really expensive purse, for instance? Why don't we try to make them aspire to have a Birkin bag instead of building a business, building a cash flow business? That's the saddest thing about what I see in today's culture that's stopping women from reaching financial freedom, financial success. So if you follow me, my channel is not going to be about that. I'm not going to be talking about, you know, how much time you should be spending on your makeup or how to apply foundation. I'm going to be talking about how do you get rich? How do you get rich quick, bitch? That's what I'm going to be talking about.
The problem is, ignoring your finances doesn't feel dangerous at first. You still get paid, you still go shopping, you still pay your bills. But years later, those small decisions can become a huge missed opportunity. That cute purchase felt good for 5 minutes. Financial security could have lasted for years.
How much money did I had saved when I quit my job at the age of 40 is probably one of the most asked questions. So let me share how I went about it, and maybe this helps. And the right question is really, how much time was that money able to buy me to figure out my own shit? So I had 100,000 in cash in Denmark in my savings, but the mortgage for this apartment is interest-free as long as I have the same amount of savings as I have mortgage left. So I had 55,000 still my mortgage left. So that leaves me 45,000 actually accessible cash. An interest-free mortgage is pure gold. I just made a rough calculation of 30,000 that I would get from my final pay, me selling my car. Because I just didn't quit my job, I also had to move across the world back to Europe because that job was tied to a visa. I also had to consider moving costs, which I totally underestimated. My estimation was 6,000 with flights, with cats, with vets, with the container. It ended up costing me 10,000. So at this point, I had accessible cash, excluding my stocks and my pension, obviously, roughly 64,000. Then the trickiest part was like, okay, how much time is the 64,000 gonna buy me? Because that completely depends on me. And I was a spender. I was spending a 6-figure salary without ever looking at the price tag. So that has been a process, and that number has changed. But at that point, I just roughly calculated 5,000. It includes also the time that I gave myself just to rest and fucking take a breather. Like, I couldn't immediately go on stressing about life and living when I had just literally burned my whole entire life to the ground. I left my relationship. I quit my whole 17 years career in finance. I was about to move across the world. So my life was fucked. So I gave myself grace and time to just enjoy life. So I gave myself the first 4 months to just rest and figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do next, because that was kind of a mindfuck. And with this 5,000 per month, that 64,000 would have bought me a year, 13 months. But as I started to get a piece of the happiness and joy and that truck, that anxiety leaving from my chest, I realized that this money thing is quite fucking important. It's just not a 5,000 approximately. And I really wanted to make sure that I would be able to stretch my savings as far as possible. And as I've been doing Excel porn for 17 years, I built myself a budget tracker. And I did the uncomfortable exercise of analyzing my spending for 3 months, like transaction by transaction. And I still to this day use that tracker. It is also linked in my bio. If you want to do the uncomfortable exercise of tracking where the fuck your money goes. And I created a habit of really looking at my spending every week. And that 5,000, I've been able to make it into a couple of buckets. I have the survival bucket, which is the bare minimum, roof on top of my head, food on the table. And then I have the happy bucket. And the happier I've become, the smaller the budget has also become. Because happiness costs way less than anxiety and stress. This was the initial calculation, and it doesn't take into account of the money that I've earned so far and the time that money has been able to buy me. I have 56,000 in stocks. I started investing very, very late. God, I wish I would have invested that money in my 20s because I would be a millionaire now. But better late than never. I don't consider that money because I do not want to touch that. I'm not currently paying any pension anywhere because I can't afford it. So if you are also in a shitty job, in a shitty relationship, in a shitty situation, because money buys you freedom. You need to know how much money you need. You need to know how much time your savings will currently buy you, or how much savings you'll have to have for the time you need to figure your shit out. And what are the things you're willing to drop in the exchange of peace of mind and happiness, and how much time you need to figure your shit out. Like, what next? Do you have a business idea? How much time you need to find a new job? How many days you need to suffer in your current job to save that amount of money? Like, it's different for everybody, but that was my situation. What you really need is a plan. That's why I call my budget tracker like she's got a plan, because now I got a plan. I track every income, every cent that comes in, everything I spend. I'm not currently yet doing the money that I need. I go on minus, I'm diving into my savings. But as I have a track record of figuring shit out, I am just going to believe myself and believe in myself. I will figure this shit out. This whole process has definitely been an eye-opening, like sending all that stuff that I don't need anymore because I'm happy. I don't need that much stuff. Looking at my finances every week and actually defining for myself, what does happiness look like? It doesn't necessarily look like an Instagram highlight reel. I get to define what happiness and success looks for myself. And that's what I'm currently doing. So make yourself a plan and then have a little faith. You will figure shit out.
When it comes to your money, the last thing you want to do is have regrets. So today I'm going to give you 3 things that you will regret if you don't get aware of your money habits today. And the reason I know you'll regret it is because I did. Make sure you stay around to the end because you're going to want to know if you're doing any of these 3 things. And at the end, I'm going to tell you how to fix it. All right, so let's get into it. Number 1, it's missed opportunities. I had so many missed opportunities for wealth when I was not aware of my money habits. It'll look like the investments you never made, the savings you never built, all because you didn't realize how your daily habits were leaking money. Which leads me into number 2. which is stress. You will regret the constant stress you lived with. Ask me how I know. And it looks like overdraft fees, late payments, no emergency cushion, and always feeling like one bill could knock you over. And the last one, number 3, is legacy or lack thereof, depending on how you're looking at it. Sis, if you don't get awareness of your money, you'll just pass down the same broke habits that you grew up around. And the worst part is you could pass down those patterns instead of breaking cycles. And sis, I'm here to tell you, you can break those generational patterns or generational curses. This is why awareness is everything. If you're ready to see the patterns and gain more awareness around your money, shift your focus and start walking in overflow. That's exactly why I created my free webinar. On Thursday, I'm breaking down the 7 levels of money awareness, exactly how you need to see it so that you can figure out how to shift your life into overflow. And sis, seats are limited, only a few spots left. Go ahead and click the link in my bio and join now so that you don't have to have these regrets like I did, and you can shift them starting today. We don't want to walk into 2026 feeling like we're walking in with those same broke habits. So let's go ahead and get some awareness and make some changes. And sis, always remember, you are worthy, period. Love you.
Okay, so I just posted a video asking women what financial decisions do they regret making. Funny enough, the number 1 was marrying for love. Guys, okay. At number 2, people were regretting having the TFG accounts. I think I saw more than 10 comments saying they regret having the TFG account. At number 3, I saw credit cards. And another one that didn't really shock me, but where women are saying they regret building their homes. So they regret building houses for their parents. Maybe we can talk more on that. But yeah, a lot of them were saying they regret building their families first before building themselves. And if you have a story like that where you feel like you regret spending on your parents first before you can come to my podcast. I'm Just a Girl. Share your story and educate other ladies. Shalom.
So let's have a real conversation, just you and me. Because if you've been working for years and still can't seem to get ahead, it's not because you're bad with money. It's because no one ever showed you how to build freedom with money. There are 5 big money mistakes, 5, that block your path to financial freedom. I've made all of these mistakes at one time or another, and that's why I can talk about this. As boomers and even Gen Xers, our teachers were folks who had come through the Great Depression. So we were taught how to survive. We were taught out of fear and scarcity mindset and not taught how to create financial independence. So let's talk about the 5 biggest money mistakes that quietly block your path to financial freedom and how to start changing them today. You'll want to save this video to come back to later. Mistake number 1, relying on a single source of income. If one paycheck controls your peace of mind, you're not financially secure, you're financially trapped. True independence comes when your income doesn't disappear if your job does. It's time to stop depending on one stream and start building multiple, even small ones at first, that you control. Mistake number 2, saving without strategy. You can't save your way to freedom when inflation eats your efforts. We're told just save a little each month, but real growth comes from learning how to make your money multiply through skills, through systems, or digital tools that earn while you live your life. Mistake number 3 is working hard but never investing in yourself. You'll take training for your job, but you hesitate to spend on your future. That hesitation is expensive. Your brain is your biggest asset, and every new skill you learn is a deposit into your own independence account. Mistake number 4, living without a plan. Most of us don't have a financial strategy. We just handle what's in front of us. But freedom doesn't come by accident. It starts with intention, even if it's as simple as deciding what you want money to do for you over the next 6 months. And mistake number 5 is letting fear make your financial decisions for you. Fear of failing, fear of wasting money, fear of looking foolish for trying something new. But the thing is, staying afraid costs you more than trying ever will. Courage is expensive, but staying stuck is bankrupting. I've been working since I was 17, and for years I believed if I worked harder, it would all add up, but it never did. So now I'm learning how to make my money.
But one thing that I regret doing when I was trying to get out of debt was I stopped contributing to my 401k so that I could put all of my money towards debt. Now, did I get out of debt maybe faster? Sure. I paid off my car at that point. I had a 5-year loan on it and I paid it off a year early. I paid off my student loans 9 years early. But here's the thing, that's compounded interest that I could never get back, right? And I wish that I would probably at least continue to contribute up to the match that was being offered. And then I probably would have looked for just higher paying jobs and thrown all of that extra money toward the debt or some additional revenue streams and put that towards the debt versus cheating myself out of that compounding interest that I couldn't get back. And so I know there are some people who recommend that you do that, primarily Dave Ramsey. That was the course that I had taken at the time. He's like, stop contributing to your 401k and throw everything at debt. And so I didn't know any better, so I listened. But in hindsight, I wish that I had not done that, because when you understand the time value of money, yeah. Now, for some people, that might work depending on the amount of debt that you have and the interest rates and all that stuff. But if it's going to take you 10 years to get out of debt, that's 10 years of compounding interest that you cannot get back. So before you try that strategy, just make sure that you weigh the options first, because it may not work. It may not be the best thing for you, even if it worked for someone else. So just keep that in mind. And if you need a free guide to help you to pay off your debt a lot quicker, that's not going to require you to stop contributing to your 401k, you can click the link in my bio for a free resource.
The biggest thing is just avoidance, like just flat out not even looking at your numbers. And a lot of times I think that's based in fear, just scared of what they'll see. If they'll see if they're overspending, or they'll see that they're not making as much as they thought that they were making. So for sure, you want to look at your numbers. Now, whether you're working with an accountant or not, just doing what I like to call a money date, but it's basically where on a weekly basis, you're just looking at your bank statements, even just logging into your bank account and kind of looking at the last 7 days worth of history and seeing how things look. And you'll start to, over time, understand your habits and where you're spending money and how things are looking. And again, that clarity is what is going to build the confidence.
The biggest mistake many moms make is neglecting to prioritize your own financial well-being. A lot of times you try to be all things to all people. For example, your friends and family, they spend their money how they want and depend on you to bail them out for important stuff. While it may feel good to be the one that people can rely on and they call on whenever they need a safety net or whenever they need things done, it also jeopardizes your financial well-being. So simply start creating a budget that accounts for your savings and your financial goals, and say no.
And that's the real lesson. Money isn't just about buying things, it's about freedom. Savings can give you breathing room, investing can help build wealth, and understanding your finances gives you choices. So don't wait for a crisis to become financially responsible. Start now, because future you will be very grateful you did.